Okay, so this is the first WIL, what I learned, and I'm just doing some uploads here, and then I've got to get a list going of different, I'm going to make an approach of looking for the next place. So to rent a room, and I'll share this. I'll be very candid and transparent with you. I'll share that process. But as I was doing this, I was thinking, perhaps this is something like I didn't know this before, but when I was at the last place that I worked, and the last place that I worked, like I asked the Lord, like He asked me, sorry, where I want to work. I was talking with Him, and I pointed at a building. I was like, I don't know how to get in there. I don't know what educational background you need for that. I have a very distinct educational background. I actually have well, I've done much schooling, but I have like education in two different not complementary but kind of diametrically opposite disciplines, and but anyways, or fields. um, Long story short though, God ended up getting me into that place, and I had to do nothing, meaning I got hired at another place. And then it was like after like a few weeks after being hired there, my supervisor mentioned, oh, we have a building or an office at this town, so the town I'm currently living in. And so that job was in another town, it was in a bigger city. And he said, I was always thinking like I would love to have somebody there, from our team, so we wouldn't have to invest that time traveling back and forth, and then also the person there could help service the smaller communities around that area. So and he's like, would you be interested in that? And I remember smiling and thinking, oh, thank you, Lord. I didn't have to ask for anything. God opened the door to get, so it ended up like working in that specific building that I said to the Lord, like after he asked me, where would you like to work? I said, oh, that building, in this town. Anyways, so I had so much favor with this boss. God gave me the favor. And I think of in the Holy Scriptures when it talks about Jesus, when he's younger, and then remember when his parents are leaving in their caravan, and then or with the caravan, sorry, not in their caravan, but with the group of folks after the feast, or the festival, and Mary and Joseph realize Jesus isn't with them, and then long story short, they go back, they find him in the temple, and then like he says, like, don't you know I must be about my Father's business? But it says that he submitted himself to them. But it says that he grew in wisdom, stature, and favor with God and with man. And it's so important that we understand that order, to have favor with God first, and then you get favor with man. And so anyway, so the one thing that I learned, so because of abuse, I was always heavily guarded. And because of abuse, especially abuse coming from people that are close to you, people that are supposed to exemplify, the opposite of abuse. They're supposed to exemplify compassion. They're supposed to exemplify a good standard of the way we should treat people and the way we should desire to be treated, or like so we can understand how to establish proper boundaries. So we can understand, what is right and what is wrong. So we can have a better understanding of, just overall, like we're just even say just basic etiquette. If you don't have that, and you're treated, say, as the black sheep, if you're treated as the punching bag, if you're treated as all these different things, my goodness, it's so hurtful, and it can create like a hole inside of you where you fear rejection because you've been rejected from at the root. You fear like people lashing out at you because you're so used to people lashing out at you, so you put all these walls up, you become highly defensive. The list goes on and on. So what I want to share is this is after I submitted my heart to Jesus. I had favor with this is the most wonderful boss, supervisor, and I'm not just saying that as like because he was kind to me. Like, he had his flaws for sure, but I found him to be very compassionate, a very highly compassionate young man, and I consider him a friend right now. Like, I really, my goodness, if he came here now, I would love to sit down and talk with him. And we have such a good rapport that's based off, I get to talk with them about the Lord. um, oh my goodness, and the wonderful things that God is doing. But I just have a lot of respect and admiration for him. Like we don't talk about anything bad, any gossip or any of those things. We just talk about ideas, and there's just a lot of love and compassion there. And so anyway, so um, the one thing I noted is I had some really strange tendencies, um, and I think he picked up on that. And when you have these tendencies, some people will pick up on them and they're use them against you, meaning they'll exploit them and exploit you and they'll attack you. It's quite terrible. Other people will pick up on them and they won't exploit them. They have a deeper level of understanding, teamed and fused with a deeper level of compassion, and then they'll help you to grow and mature. So, and I don't mean to throw my parents under the bus or to talk negatively about anybody, but I do mean to derive, the things I'm talking about experientially from the things that are occurring in the moment. So it's kind of like a living case study, and I love using that word, vivisection. So this is like we're constantly learning, we're constantly growing, but we're constantly processing everything that's playing out around us. And so, hey, okay, so my apologies. Kind of lost my train of thought there, but I'll push through this. But one of the things I noted, and I've noticed like through this situation here that I'm currently going through, is how you can be yo-yoed around when you're if you've been abused, if you're used to people lashing out at you, if you're used to people having a bad day and then they take it out on you, and then you see that they're really nice to other people, so you're kind of singled out that way. If you don't know that that's wrong, it's really you haven't received that revelation from the Lord, you haven't received that understanding, you can become very skittish. And by skittish I mean easily taken advantage of and easily exploited. And it's like you can really desire to do well, or say like at your job, for example. So this is what I want to talk about, like in terms of the work community. So you can really desire to do well in your job, but you're gonna lack confidence inside. And because you're lacking confidence inside, it's like an open door to all these anxious thoughts, to all these indecisions, to all these, like, to this ambivalence. Should I do this? Should I do that? And then you lack what what people have when they have confidence, which is you're able just to utilize your autonomy and look at a situation, look at a problem, and then make your mind up of the approach you'd like to take, and then overcome the frustration, overcome like the this, the that, and then do your best to complete that task. It might not be the best approach. It might not even be the most advisable approach, but you're at a point where you're able to make your decisions, and then you can grow, and then you can learn, and then you get to a point where you say, instead of doing it this way, instead of doing it my way, how about I ask somebody else? How about I go and inquire, like maybe